Welcome to this crazy world. Dracula finds out he was awakened just to deal with a little blade, his face instantly turning green like a garlic ball. Displeased, he scolded his descendants and then strolled down the busy street, trying to understand this entirely different new world. Suddenly captivated by a store window subtitles, the window displayed vampire-themed goods. A warmth flashed in Dracula's mind, but entering the store, he saw his image. Turned into a comical bobblehead, his face darkened instantly, his once feared power and image now a joke. Meanwhile, the store clerk noticed Dracula, a bald round-faced guy in a sexy shirt, mistaking him for a local from Chengdu. Out of goodwill, he enthusiastically attended to him, while Dracula thought to himself, after thousands of years of progress, humans are still this foolish. He couldn't hold back his anger and directly drained the clerk dry. Meanwhile, vampire leader Susan decided to take a sneaky strategy, and Blade, as usual, destroyed the vampire's hideout that day. After hunting, vampires fell successively. The last hit by Blade's attack didn't turn to ash. He didn't immediately turn to ash. While not far away, Susan was live streaming the whole thing with her camera. Seeing Blade take off his fake teeth, he realized he was being set up by vampires, leaving evidence of murder in the street, quickly drawing police attention. The footage was sent to the police station, and Blade's image and reputation collapsed overnight, turning him into the nation's most wanted. Facing the charges, Blade shrugged it off, not realizing this mistake would lead to unbearable consequences. Meanwhile, Susan leaked Blade's details to police, triggering a special forces raid that night. Faced with soldiers' pursuit, they didn't bother to engage and destroyed all evidence in desperation. Trying to escape, Whistler was hurt in the action and chose to sacrifice himself, calling for Blade one last time. A huge blast instantly engulfed the base in flames, trapping Blade immobile by special forces. He refused to stain his sword with innocent blood, surrendered, and Blade was taken to the interrogation room. Facing the interrogation by two detectives, he remained silent. Even when they tried every trick in the book, he still kept his mouth shut. To prove that Blade was a murderous maniac, they invited a psychologist to join the interrogation, a professor from Los Angeles. However, this psychologist was a vampire spy, using his influence to constantly smear Blade's reputation. He constantly portrayed Blade as a mentally ill criminal in front of the public, dismissing the existence of vampires as non. Blade naturally became the public enemy number one, and now losing his support, he truly found himself in a situation of isolation. The doctor injected 2,500 more sedatives into his neck, ensuring his complete inability to resist, as Susan disguised herself as hospital staff. Preparing to fight Blade, a vampire smashed glass turned to powder instantly and vanished. Then, a mysterious figure jumped through the window, and Little Sword casually shot down a guy. In the confusion, a serum was injected into the weakened Blade, and he quickly broke free like a waking beast. At his peak state, he kicked the vampire clear across the room, donned his sunglasses, and strutted out of the interrogation room like a champ. Then, a fierce woman joined, wielding a UV bow, her arrows precise as missiles. Even if enemies hide in the most hidden corners, she hits every time, and Blade feels a strange familiarity. But he couldn't recall who she was. Working together, they quickly broke through the police and vampire encirclement, successfully escaping the precinct. Blade took an unconventional route, crashing down from above. Meanwhile, the police had already laid a net outside the precinct. Fortunately, backup arrived just in time, and after rushing past the blockade, the three swiftly jumped into their vehicle and fled the scene. Blade realized the woman was Whistler's illegitimate daughter, Jennifer. Whistler had once told Jennifer that if Blade was ever in trouble, she should help him with everything she had, and now Whistler was gone forever. At the base, they encountered other top experts in their fields who developed specialized weapons using vampire knowledge, including explosive UV guns and a powerful UV compound bow. Their might was nothing short of incredible. Later, Little Sword informed Blade that the long-sleeping vampire Dracula had awakened, but the scientists had developed an ultimate vampire virus. However, the mortality rate was unstable unless they could obtain Dracula's blood. Blade recalled the previously criticized psychologist, who might possess. Therefore, they headed to the psychologist's clinic, and when the doctor saw Blade arrive, he not only didn't panic, but smiled instead. When Little Sword approached, he found the real doctor was dead, and the one in front was Dracula. Little Sword was caught unawares and grabbed at once. Neither Blade nor he moved, as Dracula stabbed him with a silver stick. Then Dracula fled through the window. Blade chased him, but Dracula grabbed a baby as hostage. He knew Blade had the weakness of empathizing with humans and wanted to avoid unnecessary fighting, hoping to find an equal opponent. Dracula hoped Blade would join him to dominate the world, but Blade refused at once. Seeing that Blade was unappreciative, Dracula tossed the baby into the air. As Blade rushed to catch it, he quickly vanished. Such a hasty retreat was completely unworthy of a progenitor of vampires. As Blade and Jennifer went outside, Dracula exploited the vacant base. He transformed into Whistler's appearance and appeared before the injured little sword, saying, "Brother, you're dead." When Blade and Jennifer returned to base, they found corpses and Dracula's blood-written accusation that Blade was unworthy as a vampire. Additionally, the female scientist left a vital dying message, having developed the ultimate virus against vampires.